the Gauntlet.
No, your eyes are not playing any tricks on you. I am back in the chair of the Gauntlet, and I am here to host the show tonight. I know it has been some time, but I'm just going to say that I'm glad to be back, being here and being in the Sideline Sports team. So there's not much to be said about it. I'm not going to make a hurrah speech about my return or whatever. I'm just saying to people that saw me before in Sideline Sports, I am going to be different than before, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. No more talk. We're just going to be about the action now. So now we are having the Horseman at 60% of the power. Tyler, thoughts are with him and the people that have been affected by the hurricane. And then, of course, JJ is doing something else. So it is just us three, along with two of the members of the sports arena.
He went to dinner with his hot friend, and if given the choice, you would have skipped the show and went to dinner with his hot friend too.
An emergency came up.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But emergency dinner with his hot friend.
How hot is his friend?
She's about a 9.5 out of 10,
okay,
bro.
Okay,
I'll send you a pic.
You know the hot crazy scale, right? Like, I'm just making sure. Like,
everyone has their own.
She's not crazy. She's cool.
Everyone has their own rankings, you know.
Okay.
It's not right. It's kind of like for college football. You have the AP poll, and then you have like all these different polls. So the evaluation is a lot different. But of course, guys, you know how we always are starting the show. We have our sports morons of the week. So
are you guys kidding me? Are you guys kidding me?
So go ahead. We'll start with Dom. Who's your sports moron?
I don't get a full screen.
Hold on a second.
What happened to that?
I'm not done this.
This dude, Rusty.
Just
Rusty.
Wow, all of a sudden,
need a full screen. I'm just saying, this is what I'm accustomed to.
I've been spoiling them for the last some odd months and giving them a full screen. That's my fault. Go ahead.
My sports moron is Bill Belichick. The fact that we're going into week 4 and the janitor, Matt Patricia, is still the offensive coordinator. Like, does anything more need to be said? Now McCorkle's hurt. That's it. Short and sweet.
Wow. Okay. Listen, my sports moron of the week. See, I get the first screen down. My sports moron of the week actually is Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels, you thought you could be a head coach. You tried it once in Denver and you had a little bit of success, but then all in all, you couldn't get the job done. So you went back to your mentor, Bill Belichick, and now you think you can just take over the Raiders and you're one. And no, you're the last team without a win. And you have Devontae Adams, arguably the best wide receiver in the league, along with Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller and a host of others. And you can't win a game? Really? Come on, man. Cut it out. I'm done.
My sports morons of the week are the Boston Celtics for suspending their head coach for having a consensual cheating relationship with this woman. Hey, I mean, you know, you can cheat. I mean, it's not against the rules. It's frowned upon, but it's not against the rules. And I think the Boston Celtics are my sports morons of the week. How can you suspend your rookie head? He was a rookie last year, took you to the NBA Finals, and it's already a loaded Eastern Conference, and you're only going to get worse because you're getting rid of the guy that helped get you there because he had a consensual relationship with another woman that wasn't Nia Long. You're my sports morons of the week. Nia, whatever. I mean, plus
you're showing your white, John Shearer.
She's not even close to my top 10, you know, in my
Are you serious?
So get out of here, you know. Eric Wilson, you're about to be my sports moron of the week. Get out of here. This is my segment.
Wow.
Go on. I'm done.
And my sports moron is wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Now, during the game last Sunday, the debacle that was the Niners-Broncos game, Shannon Sharp was watching the game, and he tweeted that he does all this route running, but he can't catch a pass. And so after the game, Judy retorted with a pretty elementary answer by saying that his breath smells like a double lightning bolt. Okay, first and foremost, I don't need to remind you that that man is a Hall of Famer and knows exactly what the hell he's talking about. Second of all, you were a first-round draft pick in 2020. Now, I know you may have missed times with injuries, but I can literally count on one hand how many career touchdowns you have. The last thing you should be doing is retorting to anybody and going out there and playing ball. The man has a right to talk. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the top 10, maybe 5 Broncos of all time. The last thing to do is to start messing with him. So, Jerry Jeudy, you're going to wear this clown wig this week. Go ahead.
Okay, you guys ought to know who
It said a double lightning bolt.
Even though I have not been on here to be talking about my Eagles this season, but I'm very happy with how they have looked. My sports moron is Carson Wentz because this man is now. I'm really tired of talking. I'm actually really tired of talking about this man. So I'm so tired of seeing that it's always with the same excuses with him. Well, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have coaching. He doesn't have offensive line. He doesn't have receivers. When are people going to realize that Carson Wentz is not the guy? So Carson Wentz was ran out of Philly, and he was replaced by Jalen Hurts. It was actually being reported that during that 2020 season, when anytime they were in the film room, the quarterback room, he was feeling very intimidated by Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts had a commanding presence in there. So, if you're intimidated by a 22, 21-year-old, you don't have the competitive fire to do anything, and you go out and you're holding on to the ball. Sooner or later, you have to find your hot read and get rid of the ball. You were sacked 9 times. It's the most times that Carson Wentz has ever been sacked in his career on Sunday. So Carson Wentz does not take accountability for himself. Not a leader, not a winner. And he's having the same problem that he's been having on 3 different teams in 3 years, 3 different teams, and the same old problems with Carson Wentz. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to our player of the week. It is Robert Griffin III. It is RG3. Very brief career for him. Only played 7 years in the National Football League, but his rookie season was one of the phenomenal rookie seasons that we have seen. Passed for 3,200 yards, 20 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and he also had the 815 rushing yards and the 7 touchdowns. In the end, for Robert Griffin III, we will never know how good that he could have been.
Thanks, Mike Shanahan.
I think the way that we've seen Lamar Jackson take the league by storm, I think RG3 could have done something similar to what we have seen with Lamar doing. But I also think that his ego destroyed his career before it really even got a chance to start because, he was kind of doing the booby miles. For those of you that you watched Friday Night Lights, and we're back doing the show on Friday night, so it kind of feels like varsity. I mean, this guy got injured before the playoffs, and he was like, no, there's nothing you can do to make me not play. And then we all know that after that great rookie season, he was actually not the same guy after that. So I think that he has to take some responsibility for that instead of everyone blaming the coaches. RG3 got in his own way, and we'll never know how great he could have been.
Dom?
First and foremost, I'd like to say that from the moment he got drafted to the end of his career, I called this man's career to a T, especially after he was hurt and either by his choice or Mike Shanahan. Wait, Mike Shanahan's the old man, right?
Yeah.
That was the young one. Ran him out there, hurt. What am I trying to say?
Against
He went
the
from
Seahawks in the
We don't
playoffs.
know.
potential
Figure it out. Come on, man.
superstar.
We got a show to do.
Listen. I mean, like James said, didn't know when to get out of his own way. Also didn't know when to step out of bounds rather than dive forward for 3 more yards. And I called it. I said, this dude's going to get hurt. He's going to be out of the league or a career backup by year 5, which he was. Funny thing is, whichever EA Sports College Football, his last year at Baylor. I didn't know who he was, but me and my buddy used to play, Dynasty mode. We took Baylor because we would take like a lower class, Big 12 team. And they were just amazing from the beginning. I didn't know who he was. Went and looked it up because, the numbers are accurate. And I was like, it says his name is Robert Griffin III. So tremendous talent, gone too soon, but I called it, just like I called Baker Mayfield.
So is player of the week a
Tebow.
good or bad thing? Because it sounds like we're dogging our player of the week. Like, can it be a bad thing? Because it sounds like this is a bad thing.
No,
It depends
I
on
mean-
the player. It depends on the player. So
Okay, gotcha.
I mean,
It just
his
depends.
career was phenomenal, but short-lived, and a lot of which through, his own doing.
Well, let's be clear. Haloti Ngata demolished him, and that was the downfall. And then Mike Shanahan was dumb enough to play him while he was injured in the playoff game against the Seahawks on that. I was going to say a bad word. I'll say crappy.
Yeah, remember when his leg did
FedEx
this
field.
number?
Yeah, he did the stanky leg before it became a thing. On that FedEx field.
Facts.
Yeah.
Disrespect.
That's
Okay, somebody got Eric.
How
somebody
does
got-
John? Wait, John.
Oh,
Where do
there
you
you
get
go.
these one-liners, and why do you never bring them to our show? But never mind. Listen, RG3.
It's
Here's
the
what I'll
gauntlet, man. Like
I
you
get
gotta
it. Here, I
step
get
up
it.
your game, Eric Wilson. You don't know
say.
where you're
I
at.
got this. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, listen to your
Pipe
boy.
down. Pipe down. There you go. Pitbull. I got you. Robert Griffin III. Whether it had been his ego, or whether it had been just his God-given talent, or whether it had been the skill that he learned. Okay. This was a young man who, at the time, was supposed to follow in the footsteps, if you will, of, and I'll go take you way back, of a Randall Cunningham, of a Dante Culpepper, a Warren Moon, a Michael Vick, being that black mobile quarterback who can not only throw with his arm, but
Dante Culpepper was not mobile, but keep going.
but could beat you with his legs if and when needed. Follow the trend here, Dom. Just calm down. I know he beat up on your Lions, but take a chill pill. What I'm
Who
saying to
didn't?
you is he unfortunately got his career cut short. Now, we can call it coaching. We can call it ego. We can call it, as John said, he did a stanky leg before it was famous. But the fact is, as a quarterback, as a black quarterback, as a black mobile quarterback, you're continually going to have a target on you. And unfortunately, he didn't have the size that a Cam Newton had to be able to withstand a lot of the hits that he took. Ultimately, that was the end of his career. I'm glad that he's a broadcaster now. He seems to be doing really well with College Game Day and when he is at ESPN on Get Up and other shows. But, you were kind of thrusted into a certain club, if you will. And unfortunately, like on Survivor and all the other reality shows, you didn't get the final rose. It was time for you to go. And guess what? See you so long. Try it next time.
Didn't he just say like a few weeks ago that he wanted to come back?
Good luck. It ain't going to happen.
As much as I love having John on the show, I wish he wasn't here just so he could have put that stanky leg thing in the comments.
I did that while you guys were talking.
Oh,
John, go ahead.
Feelings on RG&E? Further feelings on RG&E?
And the funny thing is, you mentioned that draft. Both Andrew Luck and RG3's careers were cut short.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. They're top picks, and both of them's careers were cut short. So I just found that
Sucks
interesting. when you mentioned
for Luck that right after he retired, then they built an offensive line. Much like right after we traded Stafford, we fixed up our offensive line.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
With RG3, it's almost like the curse of the Heisman winning Big 12 quarterbacks. They win the big trophy in college and then they end up not panning out in the pros for some reason.
Jason White.
And you can say the same thing for the SEC. Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, you name it. I can go back to Sam Bradford. He was a Heisman quarterback winner in the Big 12, and he didn't pan out. And he was injury prone.
Sam
Definitely
Bradford,
did not.
because he stayed in college an extra year because he didn't want to be a Lion.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
The Eagles
Wise
should have
choice,
never
Sam
traded
Bradford.
Nick Foles for Sam Bradford.
Yeah, but we got Nick back, and then when Sam came back as a Viking, we whooped him. I mean, it was I'm not even worried about that. That was a blip on our record. I'm not even sweating that.
The RG3 is what I always deem, in my theory, as the reason why fans have become so impatient with quarterbacks. And it wasn't just RG3. You guys mentioned Andrew Luck the same year, and also Russell Wilson. All three of them came out of college and hit the ground running. By midseason, they were team captain. They were run. All three of them made the playoffs, and it's because of, and this is no fault of RG3 or Luck or Wilson. They did their jobs, but it's because of them, because of, especially RG3. It's because of them. Fans have become impatient. They never let a quarterback develop. It's almost like half a year to 1 year. If they're not producing, they're trash, and they lose patience. And
Easy
so,
there, LaShawn McCoy. Calm down. Like, calling people
Whoa,
trash.
whoa,
Easy
whoa.
there, LaShawn
Hey,
McCoy.
do not disrespect
Now, why you-
Shady McCoy
What are you
on the
doing?
show.
Did you hear that,
John,
LaShawn
you finna
McCoy?
get that work.
Did you hear those
You
comments
finna-
from
John,
LaShawn McCoy?
You finna get that work.
Yeah, what'd he say?
Okay.
Like Kyler Murray's trash. He plays like a high
Yeah.
school quarterback.
Yeah.
That
You were
bums
gonna
me
say
out
how he
because
said Eric
I really
Bieniemy,
like
all
LaShawn
he does is
McCoy.
yell at players.
well, the thing is this. Take a look at the fan base nowadays and how they view new quarterbacks. It never was like that in the 80s. It never was like that in the 90s or even the early 2000s. But
Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers sat behind Favre.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He
Well,
was like the
thing
last
is,
one.
you either
about
have
him
to be
later.
to succeed immediately. You either have to be an exceptional talent
Yes.
or come into a good situation.
That's my point. They were exceptions, not the rule. You see what I mean? They were the exceptions and not tradition. Because Aaron Rodgers, believe it or not, did it right by the book. He was a first rounder, but he sat behind somebody for a couple of years. Then he turned into the man we all see today. You know, but
The guy that
bringing it back to
loses in the first or
RG3,
second round of the playoffs. That guy.
The guy
with
that
4
refuses
MVPs
to get
also, but
vaccinated.
Oh,
MVPs,
so now we're
44
lumping him in
yards,
for regular season
actually over
trophies.
50,000
Do you like
yards.
Russell Westbrook too?
Interception ratio in NFL history.
He's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen, but he chokes in
Then
the
why are you dissing him
playoffs
for no reason?
because
doesn't have
he
enough
chokes
hardware.
in the playoffs. I
doesn't
want
have
Aaron
enough
Rodgers
hardware.
to be
Same
great.
division to be
You don't think
fair.
I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers break
Last
Tom
year he
Brady's
choked.
Hey, Eric, John, y'all see it. I'm a Texans fan, and I'm not even this bitter. I'm not even this bitter. Do you know what I mean? And
would love
Peyton
to
used
see
to,
Aaron Rodgers.
and Peyton used
would
to
love
kill
to see
my
Aaron
team.
Rodgers walk off into the sunset with
How many
10
games
Super Bowl rings.
was Green Bay the favorite? When they played Seattle, they were on the road. Seattle was number 1 seed. Atlanta was number 1 seed. They're underdogs most of the games. Aaron Rodgers
It's
elevates
Aaron
garbage
Rodgers.
teams and gets them in this position.
I don't care if the
It's
game's
not-
being
that's
played
not
on
joking.
Jupiter. You got to beat Matt Ryan.
It's the same. It's the same with LeBron. Everyone says LeBron's finals
Oh
record.
my
He's been
God.
against
Someone
San
mute
Antonio
James.
Spurs,
I got-
dynasty, Golden State,
Out of order.
dynasty. But
Out of
people are
order.
hating on LeBron for no reason. It's ridiculous. But I cannot go into that because we also have to get to our Gauntlet Grinders of the Week.
Oh,
But
yeah.
first, we got to have a message over here from the sponsors.
Take it away, Kevin Harlan.
Running like my hands on fire, and I don't intend to stop even when my legs grow tired. And I got a message from Colorado straight from Texas, captured most of me, just let me be.
Make sure you guys can check out the links down in the description below. Fanatics, Yeti, both partners of the Gauntlet and the Sideline Sports Network. Check out all the good products and stuff that they have out there if you're into camping and doing that sort of outdoorsy type of stuff. So, Gauntlet Grinders for this week. I'll go ahead and I'll go first this time since it went last for Sports Moron. I got to give a shout out to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You got to think about how far Jalen Hurts has come. From being a rookie, he was over here on a garbage team, sitting behind Carson Wentz, finally gets a chance. Doesn't really do much. Comes in last year, first season as a starter. Everyone's writing him off. The Eagles need to draft this quarterback and that quarterback. Trade for Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. all this stuff was going around Jalen Hurts, and he completely blocked out the noise, and he just went and he put in the work that he needed to put in to get better. And it's been very impressive to see his evolution as a passer, because we know that he's an athlete, he can run. But Jalen Hurts, he's really silencing the doubters right now, and I just hope that he continues to get better as the season goes on.
So my gauntlet grinder for week 3, after combing through the pages, I am going to have to, and I know, it's against the Jets, but I mean, this essentially was their bounce back game. I'm going to have to give it to Joe Burrow with the Bengals. He went 23 of 36 for 275, 3 touchdown passes, no picks, only sacked twice, testament to his line. And he had posted a QBR of 57.3 and a passer rating of 114.9. Now, in a season where people will call in the Bengals a fluke, saying they shouldn't have been in the Super Bowl, this and that. Wait till the Ravens are healthy. They're the real team in the division and everything. This is where the pressure is on him, and he's going to have to prove that he's not a fluke. Now, again, I know it's against the Jets, but everyone gets a bounce-back game. He put up a flawless performance in this one, in my opinion. He's the gauntlet grinder. Welcome back, Joe Burrow, and here's to you staying off the turf for a change. Go ahead.
3 of them. First one is James Robinson, 17 carries, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. He's my favorite running back in the NFL, not named Nick Chubb, who is my every week gauntlet grinder because he just keeps getting it done. Other one is Amari Cooper. Week 1, super disappointing. 3 catches, 17 yards. Since then, 16 catches, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm sure we won't see that this week because it's Amari Cooper, and he only looks like an elite receiver for 8 to 9 quarters at a time.
So my gauntlet grinder this week, showing a little love to Dom's Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. This young man, if you don't know his name or even his brother's name, Equiminius, get to know him, because these 2 studs are just truly setting themselves apart in becoming top wide receivers in the league. I mean, 3 weeks in, he was 23, 253, and 3 touchdowns. Impressive coming out the gate week 1 against Philly Jim and mine's Philadelphia Eagles. I liked what I saw with that team, but as he continually progresses, he continually shows up. He's my week 3 gauntlet grinder of the week.
I heart you for that, Eric. He's out
So
this
I
week.
realized that Dom's segment was probably about who's on his fantasy team. That's what I took away from his segment.
No, none of them are.
James Robinson, Nick Chubb.
None of them are.
My gauntlet grinder has to be Trevor Lawrence. I mean, nobody's really talking about the transformation that Trevor Lawrence has made in the first couple weeks without Urban Meyer, and he has Doug Peterson. Now Doug Peterson's going back to Philly, which should be some crazy weather. But Trevor Lawrence has looked really good. He looks like the guy that was drafted number 1 overall, not the joke that he was last year because of Urban Meyer. I didn't pin any of that on Trevor Lawrence last year. I just chalked it up to Urban Meyer's an absolute fool, and I think Trevor Lawrence just looks amazing, and nobody's talking about him. I mean, we've all talked about Tua and Josh Allen and everybody but Trevor Lawrence, and all they did was go in and beat the hell out of Justin Herbert in his own
Yes.
Like,
Chargers going Charger.
10 on Justin Herbert, and nobody really mentioned it. We haven't heard a peep about, Stone Cold Steve Austin going stomping a mud hole, and Justin Herbert. Nobody's really mentioned it.
I think he's less stone cold and more Favre. I hear you, Johnny.
So Doug Peterson can fix Trevor Lawrence, but he cannot fix Carson Wentz. Well, that's because Carson Wentz is
Well, Lawrence is also a lot more talented.
It's true.
I mean, I'd take Carson Wentz as my team's quarterback right now if I give him a lobotomy.
I really can't. No, I'm sorry. They were both 1 and 2.
Golf.
And I really feel like at basically on what I've seen, Dom, you got the better deal. I really feel
I'd rather have Golf as well.
I mean, we got an extra first-round pick.
Goff's been pretty solid this year.
My only issue with Goff is he's throwing into windows that don't exist, let alone are they open. Every once in a while, he gets this idea that he's Matt Stafford, And he
No.
throws into
Carson Wentz
coverage.
against the Eagles on Sunday, he finished the game with 211 yards passing, but going into the fourth quarter, he had 41 yards passing. So the man had a lot of garbage time yards. He is terrible. If you want to know how terrible he is, just rewatch that game. Just rewatch that game. That's all I have to say about that. But we have to get
I
into
wouldn't
some
watch
more-
it, let alone rewatch
We
it.
need to get into some current events. So we're going to start with the events of last night and last night's game. We had Tua, who was coming in. He got injured on Sunday first against the Buffalo Bills. He went back into the game and finished that game for them. And then last night he played, and then we all saw what happened. He ended up exiting the game on a stretcher. He went to the hospital. He got checked out. They said he had a neck brace, and he ended up actually getting released from the hospital the same night. So he wasn't actually there for long, and he flew back with the team. So it's actually good for him. But in the moment, it was very scary. And when you saw what happened, you know, his fingers just kind of froze up. So all you can really think of in these type of situations is these careers are on the line. And you know, Tua is a young man. He's in his 20s. He's in his 20s, and you know, you can go out there and it only takes for one injury, and then you're done. You're done, and you're not going to play anymore. So we've seen CTE is a serious problem for players even after they retire, even if you play for a long career. But we've also seen it completely destroy people. We saw what happened with Antonio Brown. He had 2 concussions in the same game against the Bengals, and it has completely ruined him, both as a player and as a person and as a human being. So it's actually a little bit more bigger than just football at the end of the day. You know, this is people's lives on the line. And then I don't know if you're the Dolphins medical staff, you know, where are these guys getting their medical degree from? You know, are they getting the degree from somewhere, Bishop Sycamore? I don't know, because I just don't know how these guys are clearing him. You know, they were doing stuff and saying, you know, he had a back injury and this injury, so he doesn't have to go through the concussion protocol, just so the team can benefit from it. So for the Dolphins, I just think it's terrible to see. And, you know, for them, I hope that there's some investigation. I hope that there is some lawsuits, and maybe it causes them losing draft picks or something in this nature. But very glad to see that Tua seems to be okay. But if I were him, I would definitely look out for myself and try to do something and take legal action against the Miami Dolphins.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any of you?
Prayers for Tua. Hope he comes back as soon as possible. John knows I love to talk all the smack about Tua, calling him a poor man's left-handed Dak, but he was out there setting the world on fire. And as much as I love being right, when it comes to players stepping up their performance and proving me wrong, I love it even more. So I hope he comes back. I hope he plays as many games as he can for his career. I wanted to see the Dolphins make the playoffs, and yeah, that's it.
This is a little difficult to get into because I have so many different thoughts, but I will try and keep this as I won't do a Mike's monologue here. What I will say to you, gentlemen, is this. I have to echo the sentiments of what I heard earlier today. Someone, whether it be the owner, general manager, someone in the organization.
Well, it can't be the owner because the owner's suspended.
Okay.
So he has nothing to do with any of this.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whether it be the front office, the general manager, the medical staff, the coach, someone in that team needs to be gone and never have a job in the NFL again. And that goes as far as Tua. Okay? You know your body better than anybody else. And I understand the position that you are in as a quarterback in the NFL, one of 32 positions. You were drafted above Justin Herbert, a man who was playing with busted ribs probably. I understand the injuries that take place in this game. And honestly, it is for our enjoyment. It is for our entertainment. It is 3 hours of watching our team go out there and dominate against another team. But at some point, you have to know that where you're at is not where you should be. That game on Sunday against Buffalo with that hit, you can look me till I'm blue in the face and tell me it was his back, and I'm going to call you a damn liar. That hit that he took on Thursday night, 5 days?
Yep.
5 days, and you take an even more aggressive hit, and now you have to be carted off on a stretcher. Someone from the front office down to Tua himself needs to no longer be a part of the Shield.
John?
Me? Okay.
Ooh.
I think it's stupid to say like Tua shouldn't have maybe not have a job. I think that's stupid because I mean it's the team's job to protect the player from himself. Like that's their job. Whoever's above him, management, the doctors, it's their job to protect the player from himself. The player's always going to try and go back out there. Every single time they're going to try and fight like hell to go back out there. Unless you're Carson Wentz, you're going to fight like hell to try and go back out there. Like almost every player's going to do it. You got to protect them from themselves. To me, Tua's a warrior for like this guy is willing to put himself on the line. This guy's an absolute warrior. What you think about him as a quarterback, this guy's a warrior, kind of like Matt Stafford, like a guy that just plays through everything and anything for the betterment of his guys. Like he takes nothing but a beating, and he just continues to get back up. Like guys like that, there's not many players built like that, I believe anymore. So to me, Tua's a warrior, but I don't know. Like, I can't rush to judgment on who did what wrong. I kind of want to see all the facts in this. I don't want to just say, well, this person should be fired or this person should be fired, because I need more information, because none of us have any information. We're all just kind of reacting, in the moment, but none of us really have any info on, like, the investigation by the NFLPA basically just started. Like, they were just starting it yesterday. And then this happened, and they're like, wow, like, this changes things. Like, I was telling you earlier, Eric, like, this could forever change the landscape of the NFL.
Real quick, Jay, before you go, is this Stephen Ross putting Tua's health in jeopardy?
Stephen Ross is suspended
trying to get Tom Brady, who has a terrible O-line now?
Nothing to do with what happened. He's suspended for the first 6 games.
Well, Stephen Ross is responsible for the entire
still
team,
the owner.
Yeah, but he's
hiring the medical staff. He's cutting the check for them.
Yeah, but we don't know. Again, we don't know. This is all speculation from all of us. We don't have any information. Those
True.
two
I'm just saying what I'm saying makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't like Tua.
If you get a concussion,
he wants Tom
Sunday,
Brady.
And the doctors clear you on Sunday. They say you're fine, but then you get hit. I mean, also, like, something we got to remember is Tua's partially like Tua. When you see Tom Brady get hit, what does he do? He curls up into a ball. He's smart. He doesn't really take the big hit. When Tua throws these big throws, he doesn't protect himself. Like, I've noticed that when he takes a big hit, you got to be able to protect yourself. You see Tom Brady do it. You see a lot of these guys kind of do the smart thing. You see Aaron Rodgers kind of like turn and just fall. Like, Tua doesn't. I'm not blaming him, but I've noticed throughout his careers when and defenders are going to hit you big, it happens. He doesn't protect himself. Like, he doesn't.
I'm doubling down on what I said, and now it makes even more sense. You're a quarterback in 2023 for the Miami Dolphins, Tom Brady.
It makes total sense.
He's got to be smarter when he takes those hits instead of just keeping his eyes downfield. Live to fight another day.
Yeah, John, it makes total sense because Tua's like 215, but let him tell it. He plays like he's Big Ben. You don't got that kind of size, man.
And that's his problem.
Yeah,
and that's his problem. John, I really quick, Jay, before you go, I just want to say this real quick, John, because you talked about we don't have facts or we don't have anything. Let me read something to you, okay? Concussion diagnosis and management, and this is just a snippet, okay? If a player is exhibiting signs of a concussion, they must be removed from the game. they must undergo a 6-step concussion assessment, which includes a focused neurological exam and a review of concussion signs and symptoms. If all 6 of these assessments are passed, then the player is eligible to return to the game. If any step is inconclusive, the player must go to the locker room for a comprehensive concussion assessment. So, John Shear, riddle me this, Batman. How is it that Tua got knocked down on Sunday the way that he did, and we've seen it over and over and over again? How did he pass a 6-step assessment to be allowed to come back into the game?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not that much different than it was. It's just more questions. You write the concussion answers on your arm.
Okay, and I get that. But you're saying to us, you're saying to me specifically, because I'm the one that said it, and I'll reiterate this in about 23 minutes. I understand where you're coming from, John. As warriors, as leaders amongst men, we do a lot more than most. We excel because of who the hell we are. But at some point, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, enough is enough. Okay?
Most athletes are never going to do that unless
you're
you
going to
stop them.
come back into the game when you're the quarterback of the 2-0 trying to go 3-0 Miami Dolphins.
Buffalo, but you're never going to do
3-0
that.
trying to go 4-0. Now they're 3-1. But
I understand where you gentlemen are coming from, but we live in an age now where we're not. This isn't the Stone Age, okay? We have the technology, we have the research, and more importantly, we have the knowledge to be able to know and understand what the hell's going on with us. Okay, sometimes we got to take the machismo out of us and do
sure, we could say that sitting here talking about sports, but if you're out on the field, if you can stand up, you're going back in the game.
Then I'm a horse of a different color, because you know what? I was doing this at 25. At 25, when I knew what my limit was, I said enough's enough. No one had to tell me to get off the field. No one had to tell me to get off the court. No one had to tell me to stop drinking.
But you weren't in the NFL.
No, you're absolutely right.
I'm not saying it's right or it's okay.
I wasn't. But what like I said, I guess that makes me a horse of a different color then. Because even at 25, I knew.
Me too.
Hey, look.
We all did.
Me personally, I played a lot of sports, and I've gotten bloody, I've gotten beat up, but anytime that's ever happened, I just kept playing until I couldn't physically walk anymore. Until I blacked out, I just kept playing. It didn't matter if I was
you couldn't stand up and go back out there.
Until I couldn't do that anymore.
Then I guess I'll outlive all. Then I guess I'll outlive all of y'all. Because I know my limit. When my body tells me something ain't right, guess what? See ya. You can call me whatever name you want to call me.
I was always
you can go next man
I'm
up.
I'm going to keep pushing it to the next
Go ahead.
Like, that was how I always was.
Go ahead.
I don't know about you guys.
And guess what, John? I'll be the man to carry you out when you can't walk no more. Because I'm still walking on my own 2 feet. Ain't nobody carrying me the hell out of nowhere.
Wait, like he can't walk, or like LeBron with heat cramps?
Here we go. Denzel, I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there.
You good. I actually in me going on my point here, I actually want to take people back in time for a second to November 18th of 2019, when Tua was still at Alabama. Game versus Mississippi State. When he went down on that horrible sack and he suffered a devastating season-ending hip injury. Tua seemingly ends up on the wrong side of these things. And to John's point, at some point in time, it's like you got to look out for yourself, because if I'm not mistaken, there were complications with that injury that were life-threatening. Then you got this incident right here. At some point in time, you got to protect yourself. And then, to James's point, it just reiterates that everyone is one play away in the game of football. But last thing I want to touch on, and this here is more team accountability, is this reminds me of KD's injury on the Warriors. Now, this is just from my point of view, but when he went down the first time, I knew that wasn't no calf injury. I knew it was his Achilles. And then the Warriors rushed him back. When they rushed him back, what happened? Pop goes the Achilles. He's done for 12 months.
Yeah, this is what teams do. Injury.
This is what teams do. Not all, but some, And this is essentially, I don't know if the league's influencing them because of the money, the ratings, or whatever. But even going to the team here, the team can get so caught up in winning, they may ask you to tell a little white lie. Oh, say it's your back. Or they may go and egg you on and, hey, that knee, you're going pretty good, right? You can go today, right? You can go today, And that's how these players keep getting rushed back, and then worse happens to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
great point
Jake,
with the hip injury. Because I think
I ask
maybe
you a
he's trying to
question?
change the narrative on how tough Tua is.
Go ahead, John.
So can I ask you a question? Then why was Justin Herbert able to play against the Jags? Like,
He
we know
shouldn't have played either.
No, yeah, that's my point. Is like we're talking about Tua, but Justin Herbert had a pretty significant injury. I didn't even know what that injury was until he had it. Like, I'd never heard of that in my life.
It doesn't
And then
matter.
I heard it, and I'm like, what the hell is
if
that?
If the guy says he can play,
yeah,
they're going to let him play, even if he shouldn't.
Filled him up with cortisone shots or whatever, and and he went out there and he didn't look like himself, but they said he was fine. So that's that. Like, I just wanted to touch on that, Jay, because we talk about
looky.
And you will be right. And
Chargers out here charging.
And you would be right, And one point that I actually heard about today is when it comes to concussions, it's one thing whenever, like, say, for example, if Eric would have hurt his foot on the court or something, he gonna grab his foot. You're gonna know it's a foot injury. Or if you were to hit his knee or something like that, you're gonna know it's a knee. But a concussion, okay, we've been around sports long enough to know, okay, the wooziness, is he, is he all the way here? You look at his eyes and whatnot. But like Dom said, if he knows the answers to them concussion questions, they're gonna clear them. It's ugly. I don't like it. We may not like it, but that's where the protocol goes. But my point is this: maybe the protocol needs revision across the board.
JC
got a concussion playing sports. I shouldn't have gone back out there, but I did.
So JC Treader actually tweeted about this tonight, basically saying we need to revamp how we do this, because he's a big part in in the NFLPA and all of that stuff. And he basically said we're going to revamp how we do this. It's all going to change, which I absolutely love that they're willing to. They have to, but I mean they're willing to take the step forward and just revamp it. I think that there should be some sort of like unbiased spotter, like from the NFL, when these guys go into the concussion thing. There
questions
should be somebody
you couldn't possibly know the answer to.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody should be in there that's not just the doctors and Tua. It should be somebody else unbiased that is there. You know what I mean? Like, there should be something in there where there's a spotter up in the booth watching the players out on the field. There should be something in there where you can't fudge it. Where somebody
like spell your government name.
And then
that was what I was thinking about.
I think that's all we have time for with this segment, because we actually have to get into something else that's a little bit crazy. And it's Brett Favre and his he's being sued by the state of Mississippi over this welfare scam. So the gist of it, Brett Favre used over $5 million worth of federal welfare funding to help fund a new volleyball facility at his daughter's school. Absolutely crazy. And I'm just going to say something real right now. This is some really messed up stuff that we're talking about welfare, because welfare, that type of money, that's like a lifeline for people. When people use the expression, the struggle is real, most of the time when you hear people using that expression, they're using it very facetiously. They're just saying, the struggle is real, and they're trying to make light of a situation. But no, the struggle really is real. And I know it because I've had tough times too. I've had to use food stamps, or I cannot eat. I've had times like that in my life. So it was a lifeline for me personally. So knowing that there's people out there that scam the system, especially someone like Brett Favre, who has plenty of money. He played in the league for 20 years. The guy has, he has millions of dollars. So if you want to make a new facility, then you should use your own money. But you're literally scamming people, and you're putting people in a worse situation because, as I said, people use this funding as a lifeline. because the struggle really is for real and people have tough times. So in my opinion, Brett Favre is a bad person, and he's really making a joke out of what a lot of people are going through. And that's actually the part that I hate the most about it.
You can skip me with this, bro, because I can't say
Yeah.
what I want to say on the Gauntlet. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, man. This is one of the poorest states in our entire country, and this happens, man. Miss me with that. You're gonna have to put a disclaimer on this for real.
Yeah, all I want to say is, Brett Favre, you're a scumbag. You got plenty of your own money, and the funny thing is, and I've always said this,
Terrible.
off the field, Brett Favre's IQ is room temperature in a very well air-conditioned room. That's why he got caught. But yeah, no. Yeah, I'm with Eric.
Pitiful.
Despicable.
John?
I mean, me personally, I'd like this guy. I know it's a can of worms, but I'd like him removed from the Hall of Fame. I mean, that would be my thing is remove this guy from the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You can't do
No,
that.
look, I mean, I know it's a can of worms, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame is about excellence, and I know what you did on the field.
It's about
but
on the field.
I get it.
If this happened
But-
in baseball, they wouldn't allow
But
it.
I don't want this guy in my Hall of Fame. I don't want him with the all-time greats. Get this guy out of here.
No, in
this
baseball,
garbage human
like
being.
Mickey Mantle was
I
a
don't
scumbag.
like when I talk about all-time great quarterbacks. This guy's not even going to be in my list anymore. He's automatically just disqualified because you are just an absolute garbage person, and it's just
I mean,
like, not only-
Favre's an
not only-
underachiever on the field.
not only what he did or what he allegedly did, but he doubled down on it with some of it, like what he had said. And it's like, how are you doubling down on on it? Like, you're not like, wow, I'm so sorry. You're like doubling down. Like, that wasn't bad. What are you
Eric,
talking about?
can we get an E-Dub rant on the
you
show
didn't do
after this
enough
about Favre?
Wrangler commercials or whatever? Like,
Hey, Dom, there might be a smoking section might come with this one, man. I haven't addressed this issue because I got a lot to say about it. There may be a smoking section because if I rant, I
We
got
need
to
a smoking section for sure.
Yeah.
I want to hear your rant.
not
Yeah.
your type of smoking, Dom.
Hashtag Eric's rant.
I'm telling you.
I don't smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes anymore, and
I know.
marijuana
Hey, man.
will be illegal in Michigan.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
we're not
you.
going to talk about that. There's kids watching. We ain't talking about that type of smoke over
This
here.
is
But
a
it is a
family
blessing that you have gone 60+ days without a cigarette, my brother, and that is my hat to you on that one.
No. 3 days.
Oh, 3. I thought you said 60.
3.
Still golf clap.
Still,
He said
I
60
wish.
hours.
60 hours. Okay, that's what I heard. My bad.
He's in the
That's still,
smoking protocol.
still good.
That's still good.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Vanilla
admit-
tobacco is the key.
Go ahead, Senior Snipes.
I would love to hear what Eric got to say. I would love to hear what Eric says on this topic or on the sports arena, whatever. Please let me know so I can hear all about it. But I'm gonna try to be as PG-13 about it as possible. All people have, not anybody on this panel, but how quick people forget that this is the same man that sent lewd photos to a female that was unwarranted. Oh, and then he had that painkiller addiction thing. It took him
I was
stealing.
about to say that consecutive game streak sponsored by Vicodin.
It took him stealing from poor people for folks to realize that he was a scumbag. He'd always been a dirtbag. And we know this. So it's about time we stop letting these players get away with this stuff. You know what I mean? Start calling a spade a spade. If it walk like a duck and talk like a duck, it ain't no damn dog. How high does he have to take it for folks to realize it?
I'd be more than happy
mean,
to punch Brett Favre in the face, and that was before this.
And the fact of the matter is, there's incriminating text messages. The other guy on the other side was like, "Now if we get caught," and he wanted to push through with it anyway. Anyway, let me tell you something. I want to let everybody on this. I don't have any kids of my own, okay? But if I had a child, of course I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that he or she is straight. But I'm not going to steal from poor people to do it. Not when there's 1,000,001 ways in this world to
What kind
make
of
money.
message that send to your kids?
Exactly. There's just a certain moral line you don't cross. So yeah, Brett, man, Brett Favre, like he's always been a dirtbag. I'm probably more upset not at the fact that of course he stole funds that was meant to go and help poor people, but it just took this long for them to realize, oh man, well, he's a piece of trash. Dude always been a piece of trash. So I mean, to be honest, he always been like on the wrong side, but it kind of doesn't shock me. Also because it is Mississippi, but what else is new? Yeah,
Cracker.
It's always been trash, man. I'm done.
So
Panic button.
Brett Favre's a terrible person. Green Bay Packers should take him out of the Ring of Honor, etc. So hopefully the state of Mississippi gets the money back, and they are having a lawsuit against Brett Favre. So we will see how that ends up happening. But let's talk about what teams do we think should be hitting the panic button. The Raiders are looking at 0-4. So I think, when you look at all the moves that they made, all the hype, Davante Adams. Now Davante Adams is really frustrated with the Raiders after he was, so happy to be there. Oh, I'm going from one Hall of Famer with Aaron Rodgers to another Hall of Famer with Derek Carr, saying all this stuff. The Raiders, they got to win. They got to win a game, and they got to start, winning more games. Otherwise, they're actually going to be looking like one of the disappointing teams in the league this season. So I think Raiders – absolute must-win game this week against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Raiders, yes. I picked the Broncos to finish last. Raiders not looking good. Also, the Patriots 1-2, although I didn't expect them to do much. But now McCorkle's got the high ankle sprain. They say most other players would require surgery. High ankle sprain is never good. That's one of those injuries that once you get it, you're really not right for the rest of the season. But F the Patriots. I don't care. It's Raiders.
I love this guy.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, your man, hashtag X Bacon Grizzly 69. He took my team, the Titans. But I really was gonna say anybody in the AFC South because that division is just goodness gracious. I mean, that whole division, it's just ridiculous.
Jags going to win that division at 4-4-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a chance.
I know, right?
I'd say Jacksonville wins it.
Our division's so horrible, we don't have a panic button in sight. Like, there's alarms that's already going off attached to the house. But go ahead, Dom. Or not my bad, Eric.
Listen, if I had to pick a team, it would be Tennessee. You're wasting King Henry, and but anybody in the AFC South. But if y'all got alarms going off, then hey, it is what it is. John?
Yeah, I have to go with the Niners. I mean, they looked bad against the Bears. That was with Trey Lance, and then Jimmy Garoppolo did not look good in a very winnable game against the Broncos. And the Niners are looking up at 1-2 already. And Jimmy Garoppolo did not look good against the Seahawks. Didn't look good last week against the Broncos. And the defense is going to be good, but can you really count on Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Hold on, sir.
Debo has it. Oh, well, this is my section. You hold on. All right, thanks. The Niners.
It's my turn.
The Niners don't look very good right now. They have a good defense. Debo hasn't looked quite the same. George Kittle doesn't look like George Kittle. And I'm a little bit concerned. You lost Mike McDaniels, the best head coach in the NFL, was your offensive coordinator, and now you're in a little bit of trouble. And this is what I said in the offseason, that if you lose him, what's your offense going to look like? Jimmy G, he doesn't look quite the same. Maybe he's not healthy, but the Niners don't look like the team they did last year. So I'm done. Now you can interrupt me all you want, Dom. Thank you.
No, Jay, go ahead. I got to do some math.
Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge how John just came at Dom like he was 6'2", bitch, and 350. But
and squatting 600.
Yeah. Little Papa Pump, I told y'all. I actually am going to say the Chargers. Now, I know it's expected for a lot because the Chargers charge it, like Dom likes to say 8 times an episode. But there was a good amount of us that had the AFC West as the toughest. And as I mentioned on the Sports Arena, we don't see the AFC West right now. Or, yeah, we don't look at them, the AFC West like that anymore. I had the Chargers as the second or the third team going in the playoffs or going to the postseason. There's still a lot of football left to play, but you know what? With Herbert all gimped up, they just lost Bosa as well. It's not looking too good for the Chargers. So if I'm the Chargers, I'm hitting the panic button.
Actually, I don't think it's a bad pick either. Even for Herbert, I don't really think they were looking as the team that was being so hyped up. But last 5 minutes or so of the show, we're gonna talk about, for a non-sports topic, what is your favorite childhood memory? It could be anything from, I don't know, sports or Christmas. Like what? I don't know. I don't know. Like, Dom, why don't you start us off?
Well, just to wrap up the Jimmy G thing, John, this is directed right at you. Just one number. 0.68 repeating. 0.688888. You know what that is?
The number of touchdowns he
no.
has.
I know you don't know. That's Jimmy G's win percentage with the Niners. 31-14. The Niners are going to be fine. I'm more worried about the Rams
Mac
than the Niners.
Jones won with the Patriots last year, but we don't consider him very good.
Here we go.
I'm more worried about the Rams than the Niners. Favorite childhood memory. I don't have one. It's several wrapped into one. Because I had a big rectangular-ish backyard. I was the only kid I knew with a soccer goal. Granted, it was made out of 2x4s and chicken wire. But it was also a hella wiffle ball, can't say stadium, park. And then the basement was indoor soccer and hockey. So, yeah, all those sports as a kid at Casa de Rubis. Eric?
Mine, I have, like you, Dom, I have so many. But I figured since this is the Gauntlet and we do talk sports, let me take y'all back. October 21st, 1980. That was the day that our Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series against the Kansas City Royals, 4-2. And I just remember as a child sitting with my dad watching that game and seeing the excitement that my dad had. And naturally, I got excited because
wait
didn't
a
know
minute.
What?
How old were you in 1980? You're barely older than me.
I was 4 years old, sir.
You don't remember that. I don't remember the 86 Tigers. I was 4.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
You may not, sir. But what I remember about that was just the expression on my dad's face and how happy he was that his team, baseball, what he loved, being an umpire, that was the excitement that I remember. And I always go back. And actually,
phenomenal Philly sports story right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of them that I have. So I got to enjoy mine on October 29th, 2008, when we beat the Rays. But I'm just saying, as a child, that was one that I remember.
Can't wait to hear John's.
Oh, yeah. Me?
I will mute myself.
I loved, during my childhood, well, as a teenager, but whenever we would wrestle, kind of like WWE, but we had weapons. We'd wrestle on the trampoline, and we had light tubes, thumbtacks, mouse traps, fire, and we had barbed wire, but I refused to do the barbed wire because we didn't have insurance, and, I figured the barbed wire probably would send me to the hospital. But we did fire, and we...
the mouse traps and the light tubes were okay.
Yes, those were fun.
That's where I draw the line.
When you got slammed on the light tubes, you just had to roll out so the mercury didn't poison you or whatever was in it. You had to make sure you didn't get poisoned from the dust or whatever that was inside the light tubes. That was mine. I just loved like when we would wrestle with the weapons and whatnot and lit my buddy's hair on fire. That was fun. So that was mine.
John Deere is a serial killer, confirmed.
Thank you.
I know, right? My favorite childhood memory, I would say, honestly, it's just, the Saturdays that I would I mean, and of course, like, you grow up and you have all these responsibilities and stuff, you work or, we're doing this. But, a whole lot often, I think back to when I would just, my Saturdays consisted of playing sports all day long. Tackle football, the things, the kids can't do anymore. But the tackle football, I remember one time I got a busted nose. I went down on and tried to tackle some dude, and he came up and he headbutted me. The headbutt, and it was like 99 outside. So the heat kept the blood like going, and it scared the hell out of my mom. And then I finally got it stopped up, and I went back out there and everything, and just and then just going
Play
inside.
fourth
dusting
down.
stuff off. Yeah, exactly. Dusting stuff off, and then going back out there and then playing basketball. People of all ages were out there from like 12 to 30. Everyone, playing with the older folks, just toughened us up a whole bunch. And we're out there, even the street lights come on. As long as we were like arm's length from the house, we were good. Just begging mom for one more hour outside and everything. 3 hours later, I'm still out there. But awesome childhood memory for me. It really thinks back on stuff that kids can't do nowadays. I mean, I consider that a staple golden part of my life. So yeah, just overall, just playing sports as a kid outdoors.
A lot of good ones so far, but I'm going to tell my story is going to be a little different. So I remember when I was in middle school, there was
5 years ago.
there was a school bully. There was a school bully that used to mess with me a lot, and I would always, because I did not like the school lunch food, I would always be bringing my lunch to school, and sometimes he would be taking things from my lunchbox. So, knowing this, we made some special type of brownies that we had a chocolate laxative in the brownies, and do I even really need to say what happened? Because
My man.
this is what happened, and
For
yes,
TV purposes, yes.
they found out that I did this, and I was suspended from school.
You
But
should
this
have
is what
been.
happens when you
He
act
was
with
never
Billy
messing with me
Jim.
again after this, because he didn't, because he literally was scared that he was going to crap himself again. So I was just like, there you go. So that's actually one of my greatest moments, I think, in my opinion. So I would say that for sure. But that is all that we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can catch us here. We're coming back to Friday Night Lights for the people that remember the Gauntlets in the early days. That is where we started before we going to Saturdays. But we will be back talking everything with the NFL. Thank you guys for tuning into the show from wherever you were, and we will see you next Friday.